Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about key signatures. This is something that is vital to your fundamental understanding of music. Knowing what a key signature is will completely change your life, and I don't say that lightly. You need to know what a key is, and it's a term that's thrown around a lot, and maybe you know what it is, maybe you don't, but we're going to clarify that in today's video. So let's get to it. So like I said before, this term key is used all of the time. And in fact, even in videos, you might see, oh, Foggy Dew in the key of blank. We use keys all of the time. And it's come to my understanding that sometimes people don't actually know what a key means. They might have a distant understanding of what it means, but they don't actually know the theoretical answer for what is the key of G? What does that tell me about the notes that are going to be played, and how can that help me? A key is basically a designated set of notes that you are using, because we have a ton of different notes in music, right? We've got all of these notes. However, we don't use all of those notes in every single song. We only use a selected amount of notes in a song, and our key signature tells us what those notes are going to be. So for instance, if you take the key of C major, so the key is telling us these are the notes that you are going to be playing in any song that's in this key. The key of C is the easiest to understand because it has no sharps and no flats, which means that you're going to be using a C, a D, an E, an F, a G, an A, and a B. Those are your 7 notes in your key. Those are the only notes that are going to be used in the song in the key of C. Now, I will go ahead and tell you up front that there are exceptions to this rule, but do not worry about those exceptions. You'll get to them when you get to them later. For right now, just understand that your key is telling you these are the notes that are going to be used in your song. Now, I think where people start getting confused a little bit is when you throw in these extra different sharp notes or flat notes, and I can see why it can be very confusing. But if someone throws out the term, hey, we're in the key of G, this is what that means. You have the key of G, and in the key of G, there is 1 sharp. Well, you might ask, how in the world am I supposed to know that? And unfortunately, there's not really a secret trick. It's something that you have to memorize. And it comes with time. You're gonna see the key of G so many times that you're gonna just start recognizing and learning that, oh, the key of G has 1 sharp. But I will give you some examples and some tools and some practice techniques that you can use to help you memorize this. There is a really, really helpful tool in the music world called the circle of fifths. Maybe you've heard of it before, maybe not. And when you first look at it, it can look really, really crazy. It can be really, really overwhelming, and I totally understand that. And it might even feel a little bit unnecessary, but hang on, hang with me. It is one of the most useful tools for understanding music and understanding how music actually works. So when we are looking at this circle, you're going to see at the very top, you've got your key of C. That's where everything starts. No sharps, no flats. Now it's called the circle of fifths because as you go clockwise around the circle, you're going to go up by a 5th or 5 notes. So we're starting at C. We're going to count up 5 notes, okay? So we're going from C, D, E, F, G. G is 5 notes above C. And the key of G has 1 sharp. So we're going to go in order. You're going up 5. You're always going to move in fifths. And you're going to go to 1 sharp. Now, that sharp happens to be F sharp. You do have to memorize that. but I do have an acronym for you that I will tell you in a second. So you've got the key of G with the F sharp. Now you just go up 5 more. So G, A, B, C, D, okay? Then you get to the key of D. Now the key of D, as you can see from that chart, we're building. So we still have the F sharp from the previous key, but now we're adding another sharp. And again, just to clarify, what this is telling you is that in the key of D, for instance, all of your Fs are going to be sharp. You're not going to have any Fs, you're only going to have F sharp, okay? Same with C, you're not going to have any Cs, you're only going to have C sharps. So, you know, if you were going to play the notes in the key of D, if you were going to select the notes that are going to be in that key, it's going to be D, normal E, F sharp, normal G, normal A, normal B, C sharp. Those are going to be the 7 notes that are selectively in the key of D. They make up the key of D, they make the key of D sound unique. You continue like this all the way down the circle. You go up 5 from D, you get the key of A, you add 1 more sharp, you add G sharp, so on, so forth. You continue and you go all the way around the circle. And it also does the same thing for the counterclockwise side of the circle, which would be the flat key signatures. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail about those in this video. Maybe I'll do a separate video on flat keys, but for now, we're going to stick to the right side of the circle of fifths. We're going to stick to sharps. Now, I told you that I did have an acronym for memorizing the sharps. This acronym I learned from one of my teachers growing up, and it's kind of silly, but it worked for me, and it helped me memorize all of these sharps. So what it is fried chicken goes down, awfully easy burp. That's what I used to memorize the sharps. So now that you have that, you can take that sentence, you can memorize it if that's helpful. But the last kind of piece of information you need to know, whatever key you are in, the last sharp is going to be 1 note below the key. So that might be confusing, but for instance, if we take the key of A, which we can see from the chart of circle of fifths that it has 3 sharps, and we can use our acronym, fried chicken goes, so G is right below A. So that's where we're going to stop. So we're going to stop at the note that's right below our key. Fried chicken goes, F, C, G. Those are your 3 sharps in the key of A. That's what you need to know. Let's take another key. So let's take the key of B. Say you are somewhere, wherever you're at, and you need to know on the spot what the key of B means and what notes would be in the key of B. And you have no clue where to start. You just know that you have to play something in the key of B. Well, what you're gonna do, you're gonna take that acronym and you're gonna go through the sharps until you get to the note that's right below B. So if we do that, fried chicken goes down awfully, A is right below B. So that tells you you've got 5 sharps, F, C, G, D, and A. Those are all of the sharps that are in the key of B. Now, that's one way you can do that. You could just memorize it straight off from the circle of fifths chart. That's also helpful if you have visual memory. It's definitely helpful to look at it. But the other thing that I would suggest doing, and I highly recommend doing this, especially if you are new to the mandolin and you're trying to find your bearings, you're trying to figure out where the notes are on the fretboard. Major scales are going to be your best friend, especially when getting used to this idea of keys and getting used to playing the notes in these different keys. and knowing what notes you're playing. So I'll link below. I have a chart of first position, beginner, major scales on the mandolin on my website. You can go grab that, come back to this video. That also has all of these keys that I'm talking about, all of the keys on the sharp side of the circle of fifths. But what I want you to do is take the key. I would start with G, D, and A. Those are the three I would start with because those are the most common keys. Those are the ones you need to know beyond a shadow of a doubt. The others you can kind of get by on, but I mean, eventually you want to know all of them. That would be the goal, right? But if we take the key of D, you can use that chart to learn the D major scale. There's your simple D major scale. And in playing that scale, you realize that you're actually playing an F sharp and a C sharp. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to play these notes and I want you to say out loud what note you're actually playing. So, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. If you take these different keys, if you use that sheet and go through these keys and practice the major scales, learn the major scales, say the notes that you're playing out loud, over time, and it's not just going to happen by you doing that one time. You need to do that preferably a couple times a week, and probably for a couple weeks, maybe even a couple months, to just really get that ingrained into your brain, ingrained into your hands, into your muscle memory. And like I said, don't think like you have to do all of them. Just pick a key to start with. Pick D. Pick the key of D to start with. Like I said, G, D, and A are the most common, so I would start with one of those. But go through that, and that will help train your brain to recognize the notes that you're playing, the sharps that you're playing, and all of that included with the acronym that I showed you for the sharps, the circle of fifths chart. All of that works together to help you understand this concept of keys and sharps and what notes are used in songs. And this is something that I really think is important for you to know, because keys, every single song is in a key. Every single song you've ever heard is in a key. And so it's something that's going to come up quite a bit, and you're just going to have so much more understanding of what you're playing. You're going to be able to improvise. If that's a goal of yours in the future, you're going to be able to arrange for yourself. You're going to be able to harmonize with people. You're going to be able to know what chords you need to use. Just so many things hinge on understanding how keys work and how notes work in those keys. And it is a big topic. There are a lot of things, and you might still have questions. Some of what I said might not have made sense to you. Maybe it did all make sense. Feel free to leave any questions down in the comments below, because I would love to answer those for you if I can. Maybe I can make a separate video going further into this topic, but let me know if this was helpful. And as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button down below and subscribe to see more mandolin and music content. And I'll see you guys in the next one.